Hello, my name is Michael Wakefield. I'm the trainer at Three Hats Training Center, the CAA approved Driver's Proficiency Program site. This morning we're going to do a short demonstration on harnessing. The first thing we're going to do is prepare a short video for you on the correct harnessing procedure. And this is with safety in mind and the proper order of things, so that when we get done, the horse will be in a finished position ready to hitch. So before we begin, we have to make sure that we have the horse is groomed, ready to go, and then we have all of the harness pieces assembled and sort of in the order in which we're going to put them on. So if you walk over here with me, we have the breast collar, and the bridle will be last, so I put it here. We have the breast collar, the traces, the holdback straps, the saddle, the breeching, and the driving reins. Everything is here. Then we go to the cart. We're going to be hitching to this two-wheeled Milton Road cart this morning, and so there are a few things that you should always check to make sure that your cart is ready and safe. The first thing we're going to do is examine the looseness of the wheel. And as you can see, our bearings are tight. Everything looks good here. On this type of cart, we only look for broken welds, loose springs, broken springs. Make sure that the shafts these are removable shafts, so we make sure that they're in and tight. And then we examine the singletree and make sure that the bolt that goes through the singletree has this nut in place and that it's tight. Everything appears to be good here. Now, we also need our halter and our lead rope for when we're on the road, and they're back here tied to the back of the cart. We need our gloves, our helmet, and our spares kit, and our whip. Everything's ready to go here. We're going to start with the breast collar. And the reason we put the collar on first is because neck collars, of course, have to go on first because there are many things hooked to the collar which have to be hooked later to something else. So the collar must be first. But our main advantage in putting this on is so that it will warm to the horse's body and get softer and more pliable. So when the horse goes under load, this will shape and spread the load for him. So I'm going to unhook the lead and slip this over his head, hook the lead, and then I just rotate it with the mane. Check to make sure that everything's ready to go here. A nice fit. So we're between the point of shoulder and the throat. The next thing is the saddle. And this saddle and breeching are hooked together. So I'm going to go up to the horse, present the saddle, and lay the breeching up on his back. There's the saddle, and here's the breeching. I'm just going to put it there so it's out of our way. I'm going to go to this side and make sure that all of my straps are hanging correctly and not entangled. Now, this harness has a false martingale, and the false martingale is going to go between his legs, and the overgirth and the girth will both slip through that loop. Now we tighten the girth, and the girth attaches to the saddle billet. Now this is a driving harness, not a riding harness. So we don't need to cinch it down. We just need to have it secured so that it doesn't go out of place. I'm going to give it one more hole. Tuck in my billet. Now when I get to the cart, when I put the shafts through, I don't want this to be able to flip up while I'm starting the hitching process. So I'm going to put it in the longest setting that I have, which would be the first hole on the billet. Now I've got plenty of slack to get the cart attached to the horse. Now let's do the breeching and the back strap. I'm going to pull the back strap down, lay the crupper here, arrange the hip strap, move his tail to the outside. Now, so next we have the crupper. I want you to open your hand like this, flip it over, rest the horse's dock in your hand, close your hand around the hair, slide the crupper up underneath your hand, and buckle. Okay, now we don't have any hair trapped. He's not uncomfortable. Okay, now for adjustment, we should be able to get our hand easily in here, and this is too tight. So I'm going to let the crupper out one hole. It's still a little too tight. So now I'm going to give the back strap one more hole of adjustment outward. Now I'm good. I'm going to attach the holdback straps next, and then I'll put the traces on. So these are our brakes. To get them out of the way, I'm going to just run them backwards through the keeper so that they hang up out of our way. Next are the traces. And the traces have a slot end which matches our single tree, and then they have buckle holes. So I left it over his back with the buckle holes on this side. I'm going to run it between the overgirth and the girth, and I'm going to put it at the longest setting and not secure it. Our saddle, our breeching, the crupper, the breast collar, the girth and the overgirth, everything is secured. The next thing is going to be our driving apparatus. So let's start with the driving lines. This is kind of a curious thing. We try to put everything together before we put the bridle on. Bridles are very expensive pieces of equipment, and a horse find every way they can to destroy one. They'll just rub at the wrong time on a hitching rail. Even in cross ties, they can turn. So we keep them in the bridle as short a time as possible before we're actually ready to start. So we have two lines, driving reins. One has the buckle on the end and one does not. The one that does not goes on the right-hand side of the horse. If we have a groom helping us and we toss the rein to them, they won't get bonked in the eye with a buckle. Not so much with singles, but with pairs it becomes very important. Okay, we're going to thread these through the terrets on the back pad and then through the ring on the neck strap. And then we're going to leave enough length to reach the bit when we finally get ready to put two. This rein is threaded and ready. I'm going to lay it on his back and I'll thread the left rein through the saddle terret, through the neck ring, enough length to reach the bit and let it drop. Then I take the two reins. I grab the lines here and make two loops like that. Stick these loops through the back strap, secure it with the keeper, and take the bite, which is the end of the reins, make a small loop and stick it through there. Pull the line down tight, and now this little pigtail sticks up and I can catch it from either side when I need the reins. We are now ready for the bridle and putting two. There's one exception here. This is a green horse, and we're going to add one more piece of equipment. This is called a kicking strap, sometimes called a bucking strap. And these two little loops are for the crupper strap, and these long straps will go down and attach to the shaft. So we will end up with this bucking strap in this position, attached to the shafts, so the horse can't elevate his hind end and kick the cart or buck and possibly get his leg over the top of the shaft. It's happened. So what I'm going to do is set it up here, open my crupper again so it's loose. Then I will stick the two crupper straps through these loops and rebuckle them. So now, this will stay in place if he elevates his butt. So when we hitch, in addition to the holdback straps acting as brakes, we will attach this strap also to the shaft so that he can't get light in his loafers behind. There's no bucking would be allowed. Sometimes young horses get a little exuberant. Are you ready, young man? Now I have the luxury of a helper today. I know most of you are going to have to hitch alone because that's just the way it is. We either have an unwilling partner or some other necessity that makes us have to do it by ourselves. It's perfectly acceptable to tie the horse to a trailer, put them in cross ties, tie to the barn wall, whatever is a safe, secure area out of the way of traffic and things. If you have a groom, you can harness in a noisy area with confusion because you have an extra handler. You have to have a quiet place if you're going to do it by yourself. So in this case, I have help. Okay, young man, open wide. That's a good boy. Offside ear, near side ear, crown piece in place, pull the mane, forelock. Make sure there's no hair tangled underneath the crown piece. That makes them very angry. And I'm just going to give this a little twist and stick it under the brow band. This is the throat latch, or throat lash, if you will. Curb chain. Now, I'm going to show you my adjustment for this. I hooked it at its longest setting, but now I'm going to rehook part of it over the top of the dangling end until I get, that's too tight. I want it engaged at about 45 degrees to the plane of the face. So if this is the plane of the face, that should be at about 45. So I actually can let this out to the end. And there we are. That's proper. Noseband. What do we got going on here? Well, that's interesting. Did you put this away? Huh? So I believe the new FEI rule for riding horses is that we must be able to get 2 fingers in here so we don't clamp his mouth shut with the noseband. It's to help, not to hinder. All right, reins. There's several settings. This is a Liverpool bit. I'm sure you all understand the settings, and if you don't, it's a good research project. We're going to put him in smooth cheek, which is acting just as if it were a snaffle bit. Buckle it. So I've secured my tabs. Always 2 sides, aren't there? Okay, he is harnessed, so now we must make a walk around to make sure that we've not forgotten something. So I see that all of my billets are correctly tucked. I like the way the bridle is sitting on his face. The eye is right in the center of the cup. Here's an untucked billet in the back, and another one. This is important because if these billets are not tucked, you can catch a line under them quite easily. Tuck, tuck, good, tucked, good, good. In the last hole, our traces are not set yet, so we're not going to put them away until we're hitched. And that concludes harnessing.